I'm just here in the Scratch Sim studio, and I'm just doing my daily workout. What I'm going to do is I am going to practice some putting using the start gate. We have this start gate putting board here. And this one has 3 metal balls on it for different distances. So we can have it the widest if we take the bottom 2 off, and the narrowest if we put all 3 on. You'll see it's pretty tight. There's a few millimeters either side on the shortest setting. But it's been working pretty well. This is a new one without the mirror. Once you get used to just having your head over the top of the ball, your eye looking in a line straight down over the top of the ball, you don't really need the mirror anymore. It's good to get you checking it in the first instance, but then once you do it, it's pretty clear. So essentially I've been training on my mat at home on the putting setup and the iron setup. So if you remember from the videos, we have the Vizio putting template with the metronome, which helps to really give us our rhythm, timing, tempo for the putting strike on the tock, tick, tock, tick, tock. And what that really does is helps us to commit to the putt, helps us to follow through properly, and helps us to stay on plane, which as we know and we explained, the putter has its own natural arc. I think the only other thing maybe we didn't cover in the videos is just keeping square shoulders, keeping everything square, so that when you rotate your shoulders, you've got your grip and your comfortable position. When you rotate your shoulders, I have a tendency to bring this right shoulder over the front, and obviously that's going to affect the takeaway in the swing plane. So, and I have actually seen tour players doing this, which is once they get set up and they're square, one of them, I can't remember who, just checks his right shoulder and kind of pushes it back just to make sure that he is square. So I've been practicing on my mat with the Vizio putting template and the metronome, just getting my rhythms. Obviously, here we have a short putt, but this putting mat has a ramp at the end, so you have to give it a little bit more and stay committed to the putt to get it up there. And I'm putting on the white line. Everything's lined up nicely, so a good place to practice. These are super cheap, $30, $40 maybe. And the white line hole is actually smaller, which is really a great exercise too. We can putt in the left one, but that's a standard size hole. But if we narrow our perception of the target zone, which is one of the other things that we cover in our training, on the sim or on the driving range, narrowing the width of the fairway, for instance, and narrowing down your perception and picking really small targets rather than broad. And I haven't putted yet, so I'm just gonna feel this out. Okay, so we hit one of the right balls, just the last one on the right. So I'm just gonna take a few practice swings, get comfortable, try to find that rhythm, that takeaway. Again, we've got the club face square off the back of the board, just helping us to keep square. And we just want to find that putting rhythm. Tick, tock. Okay, nice. So we've come straight. We've started the ball straight. As we know, if we don't start the ball straight, no matter how we've read the putt, we don't give it a chance to go on the correct line unless we get lucky. So we always want to be working towards starting the golf ball straight for every putt and getting true roll by keeping the club face square. Let's give it another go. Tick, tock. Okay, nice. So my training at home is paying off. The tempo's good, the rhythm's good, the follow-through is good, the commitment's good. And I'm getting the ball starting on the correct line. I'm just going to run a few of these. Okay, so I've come off the plane there on the takeaway. I think I didn't really commit it was a bit of a weak takeaway, and as a result, the follow-through wasn't with the rhythm and the timing needed to send the ball. Let's give it another go. Yeah. So that one, more commitment to the follow-through, commitment to coming through on plane and sending the ball in the right direction. If you pull out or if you hesitate, then often the club face will not come in back to the back square to the ball, and maybe you don't follow through properly. And this is all a shoulder rotation, guys. It's really keeping your armpits close to your body, and it's all shoulders. I find that a little bit difficult. I did in the beginning, starting that movement from the shoulders and only the shoulders. I think it feels a little difficult to, when it's a smaller putt, to start that movement from the shoulders. You kind of want to handsy it, but actually it all comes from the shoulders with a very stable base, very still, tick, tock, follow through. Okay, let's see if we can repeat that. Bring the putting golf machine directly to the putt. Tight, tick, tock. Okay, so we hit that one a little bit hard, but it started on plane. It didn't catch one of the gate balls. So I just need to work on the tempo and the speed. I think in that one I actually pulled the club back a little too far for this putt. Let's try again. Tick, tock. Okay, so I think I pulled that one left. It hit the left side ball on the last setting. Let's just see if we can correct that again. Let's take a practice swing. Tick, tock, tick, tock. Let's come to the ball. Tick. Oof. That one was very bad, very off plane. I'm not quite sure what happened there, but it doesn't matter. All we have to do is come back to how we've been training and just execute our repeatable process again. Tick, tock. Okay, so we're pulling a little bit here. Might be not committing to the follow-through on the correct putting arc. I remember this is on the hardest setting here, guys, so trying to do even 5, let alone 10, 15, 20 is tough until you get really good at this. Tick, tock. Okay, and we're back. For me, it's a strange feeling, because I was the guy who would always be trying to putt straight and inevitably would be coming in with the club face at the wrong angle. But when you putt on the correct putting arc, it's a very strange feeling, because when you come out and back in, it almost feels like you're hitting across the ball. You're kind of hitting across the ball, but trying to keep the ball going straight. But you can feel that out with these exercises. Tick, tock. Okay, I'm just going to drop this down. I'm going to take the last ball gates off, and we'll see if we can get something going with a slightly wider gap. So that's probably changed it from, maybe more max like 1 centimeter to maybe 2. To give me a bit more space just to find the rhythm. Let's see. Tick, tock. Okay, there we're back. And there's that feeling of kind of sweeping across the ball. It's almost coming from the inside across the ball. It's a strange feeling. I don't fully know how to describe it yet, but it's definitely not how I used to putt. But when you get it right, you see exactly why it's like that. Okay, square the shoulders again. Tick, tock. Okay, that one nearly went in, but it pulled as well. Okay, so yeah, this is essentially the practice session and getting really good at this, so that you know that when you step onto the green and you've read the putt and you've set your, you've lined the putt up with where you want it to go. You've picked your target 4 to 6 inches in front of the ball, which is what you're lining yourself up to. And then you're going to putt it through that marker on the ground. And this is how we try and keep it straight. So we just need to practice this. Tick, tock. Okay, so that missed the pin, but that one came out left again, which is a slight pull, which means I'm coming 2 across it. So, and you can adjust as well, like the mat teaches you your correct distance. So this could be, I could be a few centimeters out from my ideal distance and set up to the ball. I could be too far back, I could be too close. But the markers on the mat really give you the references for that. So it's just finding that again. Stable base. Tick, tock. There we go. That one's in. Solid, confident, and true. Let's try, now that we found that, on the last setting again. We'll see what happens. And then we're going to move on to the sim and hit some wedges. Tick, tock. No, the last setting is too much for me today. I'd probably do 10, 15 minutes of that, guys. And then I move on to the simulator. And we'll just get that set up for you. I'll bring you back out here. Okay, so on the sim, what I'm currently working on is I've been using the mat a lot at home. I've done 25 days of at least 5 to 10 minutes of reps on the scratch mat to really tune in, getting my swing on plane. And specifically trying to get rid of the habit of chicken winging, which is when the elbow essentially comes so far back that it's outside of the line of your back, the angle of your back. Really, we want that elbow to be the top part of the arm, no further than or level than back, and definitely not this. And my old swing, I'm used to trying to get more power by bringing it all the way out here and come back through. So I've really been working on keeping width, but also stopping that elbow coming too far out. A lot of players, it will come out to here, and they've still got structure. We just don't want it out here. So I've been working on that. And then the challenge is, once we've started to ingrain that on the mat and into muscle memory, it's then bringing that onto the sim or onto the driving range without just automatically going back into old habits. I found the best way to do that. 2 things happened. One, I'd start immediately with 7-iron, and I would end up just hitting more and more 7-irons like I used to on the range, and then not really taking the time and the care to set up to the ball properly and really focusing on the swing and understanding what's happening. That's happened a few times, so I've had to step back from that, and I've given myself the criteria now that I can hit 10 of each ball with each club. I've got a 56-degree wedge here, which I'm going to start with, a 7-iron, and then a 3-wood. So all I'm allowed is 10 shots with each, which is training essentially as we would, to replicate how we play on the course, maybe I'd get 10 shots with each club on the course, and each time, I have to be ready to go and hit. I'm going to do it in succession because it just takes too much time to swap between clubs. And what I realized when I was trying to bring the new muscle memory and learnings from the mat onto the sim with the 7-iron was that I was tending to come too far up in my backswing, and the further up you go is where all the problems start. Really, we want to come to P1, P2, which is the hinge, and P3 is just a slight rotation of that frame. At the moment, I'm working with about, if this arm is parallel to the ground and on the target line, I'm working with about 6 to 8 inches maybe from there. And that's where the lift happens. We've got the frame, and the lift happens in this right arm for the hinge. But what we don't want, and what was happening for me, was as I was overextending. The higher up you get, the more problems there are going to be with the swing. So for amateurs, it's actually, and especially going through this process, it's better to feel like you're only swinging to 9 o'clock, stop there, and then go. And actually what will happen is you'll think you're at 9 o'clock and you'll pretty much be up here somewhere. But that elbow is so key to keeping the frame in place and then coming back through, keeping that frame so you've got this space and width to come through on as well. So yeah, what I realized was actually starting with wedge really helps to keep that elbow in and ingrain it to begin with in the backswing. And then I'll progress up to 7-iron and then to 3-wood. So here I've set this up on a typical green where the pin is roughly in the middle. It's 100 yards. I hit my 56 about 105, 110. I just want to show you where the pin is so you can see. Let's go this way. Yeah, and what we see with this is, like many greens, it's very well protected at the front, and usually that's where all the runoffs are. So if we hit and we're short, we're going to end up in the bunkers. Tough second shot, of course, for most amateurs. Or we're going to be even shorter than that in this case, and in the water. If we catch a good one and it's still short, but it hits the front of the green or the edge, it's likely going to roll all the way back down into a gully on a lot of golf courses. And then you've got a really tough chip from there where you can't see the pin, your head's below the green, et cetera, et cetera. So what we teach with this, and this is proven statistically, is that most amateurs need to club up. So if that's 100 yards to the pin, we want to be aiming to hit the back third of the green. So in this case, that might be 110, 115. So I'm probably a little short on this. Let's just adjust that and make it more realistic. Let's set it at 95, let's say. So at 95, and I can hit this about probably consistently 105, so that's 10 yards more. Ideally 110 I'd want to be hitting. So yeah, I want to be aiming on this green. Obviously that's got a big bit at the back, but essentially the back half of the green is probably somewhere around 105 to 110, which is what I can usually hit this 56 degree. And essentially within 130, 120, 100 yards, we should be on the green every single time. So we don't want to be short, and amateurs often overestimate the distance they can hit their clubs. And the problem with that is, yes, you can hit it, the distance you think, but can you do it 10 times out of 10? And the answer is often no, which means, maybe it's 50-50 whether you're going to, hit the ball with the right compression that time and hit that distance. So the simple answer, and as a result, you're just going to end up short and get yourself in trouble. Whereas from this distance, we really want to be on the green and ready to lag putt to get down in 2. That gives us the best chance to score, and it gives us the best chance to get down for par or bogey. Okay, so let's give it a little try. So I'm just going to take a few practice swings here, try to get on plane. I haven't hit any balls since yesterday. What I'm also realizing is, myself and many amateurs, we focus so much on the backswing and trying to get that in check, and trying to work out what feels right and what the right places to hit are. Well, once we have the mat and we can build those positions into your golf machine, we just need to hit P1 and we just need to hinge into P2. The rest is just a small rotation without chicken winging, and then we can go. And what I found now is, having spent 6 to 8 months working on all this stuff and working on that backswing for so much, you neglect the front swing, you neglect the downswing. Well, the downswing is an unfolding of the backswing. So if you come up on plane, all you have to do is actually rotate. But in rotating, you really need to follow through. And that's the next piece of the puzzle for me, is really getting that follow through right. So what I've been doing is really, in my practice swing, just trying to feel out P1 and P2, keeping that elbow in the right position, not rotating too far. And then also feeling the rotation and the follow through really, while keeping your head behind the ball. And the other really key thing that I'm learning is I tend to straighten this leg. And if you straighten that leg, it makes you stand up. So what I've really been noticing is actually keeping my knees way more bent. When I take the backswing, this knee bends obviously, my hips rotate. This movement, this bending of the knee, brings my head slightly closer to the ball, just a touch. And then when I rotate through and I'm footing that hip, having my knees more bent is stopping me from standing up, right? Which is the classic amateur move, standing up, and then everything goes wrong. What I really want to be doing is rotating, keeping this knee loose, but still rotating and finding that. So basically that it doesn't go into full extension, keeping my head behind the ball, and then following through and up is once you follow through and you've hit the ball, your head's still in position, you can look sideways to see. Obviously, head up is another one, hitting the ball and then head up. But actually what I realized recently that hitting the ball and head up is also a product of this knee straightening by trying to get force off the ground to come through. The solution I found to that is, rather than have your knees just slightly bent, is actually give them a bit more bend while we're learning this. And then later on we can adjust to those very fine movements. So let's give that a go. I'm just going to start with a few easy ones. My knees are slightly more bent. My weight's through the middle of my feet. And I just want to start with some nice easy ones. So that's okay, not too bad. Not sure where that's, I think that's gone left high, so above and behind the pin, which is good, that's where we want to be. It was 98 yards. So I'm saying I can hit this thing, consistently. You want to know what number you can hit your club consistently. I can hit it consistently 105, and I've come up short. It's my first shot. Let's give it another go. It's gone pull left, coming through too quickly. Timing is slightly off. Let's give myself more time to transition into the backswing. We're just loosening up. That's 2. Let's go. Let's loosen things a bit more. That's better. Full rotation. And that's landed pin high at 93. But if I hadn't connected with that as well, that could have been very short. Again. Okay, focusing on that rotation coming through the ball has given me 5 extra yards. All right, so actually rotating, the rotation is come up, following through with your body and completing the swing and the club, you know, arriving, if you're on the correct follow-through plane, behind your head. And to do that, we have to actually rotate, but we have to stay down through the strike and then rotate. Better, a bit thin. I think I came up on it. So there we've got 100 yards. Still shorter than my 105 claim. But let's see. I'm just warming up here. Okay, much better, everything. And that one has landed 102, so that's on the back half of the green. That's kind of where we want to be. 102 is, the pin's at 95, so 7 past the pin. And we're starting to get a bit warm now, I think, which is good. Let's see if we can replicate this now. Trying to build the golf machine, everything the same. One thing I've also noticed, guys, actually is setting up and having your practice swings, everything's fine, feeling that out, you know, keeping that left knee loose or whatever it is that you're working on, following through, really coming through the ball. What I'm finding is the minute I put the club behind the ball, everything starts to go a little bit hazy, a little bit fuzzy. There's definitely a relationship psychologically to addressing the ball and having your club there. Maybe all those past memories or whatever start to come in and you're not quite as clear on what it is you're meant to be doing or what your first movement is or where, you know, what sequence of things you're trying to make. Really, we need a clear mind here. I find when I actually address the ball, my mind just doesn't feel clear. And one of my solutions to that has been to have my practice swing, you know, really feel it out. And that really is a P1, feel that. And then a P2, feel that motion. And then a last one, P3, and sort of your real swing. That should be your sort of practice sequence. That's one that Jake taught us to go through. So P1, that's finding the arms connected and the shoulders rotating. And then P2 is finding the hinge and bringing it back down again. And then P3 is just a slight extension from the hinge and feeling that rotation coming through and the full follow through. That's enough to get that into your, you know, into the feels in your body and to remember it. And then what I've actually been doing is setting up properly, but leaving the club over the ball here and just feeling that first motion of where I want to go. And then I know that the minute I address the ball and I'm behind the ball, I have to go. I have to make my backswing, no hesitation. So that will be like, okay, that was a nice clean strike. Maybe got under it a little. That's gone far. Okay, there you go, 108, right? So for me, that is helping to avoid all the hesitation, all the thoughts coming in, the minute that I address the ball, because there is something going on there. I don't know exactly what it is yet. I feel that for myself. But the minute you put your club behind the ball, you know, maybe your body's reacting, your mind's reacting, the pressure comes in, the thoughts come in, whatever it is. We don't want that. And watching, I always like Ludwig Aberg, because he doesn't take any time. He trusts that he's done the work. You know, he's literally done all the work in practice, which is what we teach. He's building his machine in training the right way. When he's out on the course, he's so calm because he knows the minute he addresses the ball, he just goes and he's done the work in the background. And what will be, will be. But you need that kind of commitment, not the self-doubt and everything else. His routine is really, I don't really see his practice routine beforehand, but you know, when he steps up to the ball, he gets there, he's already had his sort of practice routine, finds his spot, gets steady, he finds his P1, that's his move, he just goes P1, And I love that because it's just, and look at that, that's 105 yards over the back, so that's nice and safe, and then I have a 2-putt in. But I like that because there's no messing around, there's no time for hesitation, there's no time for swing thoughts. And, guys like him are trained in the mental game by the world's best specialists at the universities across the US. So he'll have had a lot of that coaching. But the golf swing needs commitment. And if you can accept that whatever's going to be is going to be in this shot, then you don't really need to take the time to do all this stuff over the ball. You can essentially just hit up to it, step up to it, don't address, because I think that does cause psychological issues, or feel that out for yourself. And you can see actually when I haven't been addressing the ball, I've actually hit some of the best shots. So I haven't had a practice swing. Let's have another go. I'm going to feel out from there for me. And then, okay, that's probably the best yet. That's back of the green, bit of backspin. 104.7, maybe 105. So there's definitely something in that. And when I used to play with the guys back in Cyprus, if we were trying to speed up a round and everybody was taking so long, we'd introduce the no practice swing rule. So everybody on the course had to just step up to their ball and go. But I think maybe there's really something in that, because it gives that sense of commitment versus trying to line everything up perfectly, spending a lot of time with the club behind the ball, a lot of past golf trauma in there. And it definitely has an effect on me. And I've been noticing that. So I just thought I'd share it. I mean, golf is an athletic sport, and I'm really feeling this as well at the moment, that I actually feel like I want my body moving more, feeling those motions more before I come up to hit the ball. And then obviously on the course, we're trying to take way more time and attention to the shots, but I haven't tried it yet. Maybe you actually don't need to. Maybe once you feel this rhythm, you're getting into the right positions. I have tried this a bit on the sim. There's no reason. It's fresh in my body's memory. And I'm ready to go. That's way more of an athletic motion than anything else, right? We've hit that 105.4, so pretty good. It went straight. It's dead where it's exactly where I wanted it to go. So I have tried this, and I think there's also a module in the course about just getting people loose and, hitting balls without worrying where it's going, to actually really feel things out, feel how your body moves, and not worry about a backswing, for instance, and just focus on the follow-through feels. So I'll put some of that together as well. But yeah, there is a lot to be said for getting out of your mind, getting into your body, feeling those things, feeling those movements. And then I think the key to it is don't address the ball, because that, for me anyway, that gets you into that technical mindset. Are my feet set? Are my toes lined up? Where am I meant to be gripping? Am I gripping too tight? What's the first thing I do on the backswing motion? Blah, blah, blah. If we trained all of that on the mat, using the weighted club, it should all be in there in muscle memory, right? So there's no reason that we can't just loose feels, and the mat, the mat, the scratch mat and the training club is also going to get us on plane. And then keeping a little loose. Started to feel like I like to feel a little loose. Keeping the knees bent. Really, I like to visualize as well. What as I come through the ball, what line it's going to start out on. A bit like the putting gate. Visualize that. Match my eyes up with that line. And then keep things loose. And just go. And if you think about it, statistically, maybe we'll do this, do a whole 18 holes with no addressing the ball, and a whole 18 holes with really addressing the ball and taking that care. But if addressing the ball and taking all that due care and attention is not working for you, that's something else you can try, right? And I will do that. I'll document it. But I definitely think there's something in that, because it gets you more into the athletic motions. But again, This is once we've got you on plane with the scratch mat, and you know the correct positions to hit, which have been simplified into P1 and P2. And we put quite a lot of practice into that at this point. Let's try the opposite again. So I'm really going to take my time and feel that out. I'm pretty warmed up now though, so I know that all I have to do is rotate and follow through. Ready to go. I've started to feel, the yips a little bit, the hesitations to go. Stood there, find myself there for a few too many seconds, and then I'm like, what am I doing? So that has started to happen, so it's helping with that. Okay, let's give it a go. Okay, so not bad. I hit that one a bit fat, came into the ground a bit hard, but it still went 105. Let's just do one more, and then we'll move on to 7-iron. And let's just do it as a straight. Now I'm coming into P1. Set up. So how I tend to do this is a big difference between just being completely set up above the ball and knowing where that first takeaway is to addressing it. It's a very, well, for me, it feels like a very big psychological difference. And my weight is in my back, mid-foot. I tend to lean forwards, so I'm immediately off balance. And a bit loose. To do much, feel that one thing out, and then commit. Yeah, much better contact, much better compression, pretty much on target. That one's gone 107. So yeah, try some of that out, guys, and we'll be filtering some of this stuff into the online program. But that's what's working for me, and that's how I'm bringing my at-home mat training sessions to the sim or the driving range. I'll have to check back on the video, obviously, to see if my right arm is actually tucking and not going into chicken wing. And then we're just going to adjust this hole for the 7-iron. So distance-wise, 7-iron. I would say I can consistently hit 7-iron 160, maybe 155. Let's go. I don't want to swing too hard today. I'm also trying to ease off swinging so hard and aggressively. I would like a much more fluid swing, focusing on contact. So if we look at that, we're still at the front of the green. So same concept here, really. Obviously, with a mid-iron, you've got more run out once it lands, but we've still got to clear that front edge. The pin is at 156, so I'd see this landing at 156, and it's going to roll out, 10 yards maybe. Let's give that a try. I'm still working through some of this stuff. And we're cold with the 7-iron. A couple of other things I'm working on. Grip. I never did this, even though when I did it, the occasional times that I did it, I just felt like I had more control over the club. But I really think all amateurs should be gripping their hands middle of the club. So once you've got both hands on the club, there's an equal distance above your bottom hand and your top hand. I think it just gives you so much more control. The longer the stick is, let's say we did the opposite and hung off the back with our left hand, it's way harder to control. Normal grip, I'm usually on the, half an inch off the butt, I used to be. Even then, there's more whip to it, there's more bend to it. If we're middle of the club, there's less. You feel like you have way more control. So I think that's definitely one thing you guys should start trying out. Mid grip on the golf club, both hands, and it doesn't affect distance, guys. And even if it does, then just club up. But actually what happens is you tend to start focusing more on contact. And when you start focusing more on contact than speed and over rotation, and the contact is good, you get the same distances anyway. And I've actually proven this, and I can do a video on that. But ultimately, if you're not getting the same distance that you did get before, then just club up. So that combined with shorter backswing and not over swinging, with a mid grip, and also swinging at about 70 to 80% speed You know, I think if you aim for 70%, you'll probably end up aiming at 80. You'll always go slightly more than what you set yourself. A bit like if I aim for 9 o'clock, I always tend to end up here. So I'm actually trying to aim very short, which is like this motion, you know, without the hinge, but 9 o'clock, I'll come there, and then I can go. So that's just what I'm going to practice now. I'm pretty warm on the swing. Just follow through for me, keeping my head down, my shoulders coming through, and a shorter backswing. Same again. I'm mid-grip on the club. I don't want to address the ball because it's just not working for me at the moment. I'm going to bend my knees, make them a little bit softer, find my position, visualize my starting line, and then I'm ready to go. So I've pulled that one. I'm hitting quite a few of these at the moment since I've changed my swing and got more on plane. And I think now it's about timing and coming through on the right plane for me. But the contact was good, the compression was good. So there's positives in all of this. We'll go again. So I'm only allowing myself 10 of these today. Just got to commit and follow through. Okay, that's a bit of a pull again. So I think I'm not following through as much as I'd like on the swing plane, on the follow through line. I think I'm coming left. So coming in early and pushing left. So maybe this right shoulder's coming over a bit. I want to come straight through. Let's give that another go. Focus on coming through. So again, just feeling it, come through the ball. P1. Okay, much better. A bit of a draw. We've hit that 167 carry, so that's quite big. The pin's at 156. So yeah, I wasn't full speed on that, and I was, you know, imagining 9 o'clock, coming a little bit more. But now that I've started bending this knee and staying down through the shot, I'm starting to get more power. So I'm getting quite mixed results on my 7-iron at the moment. Sometimes I'll be hitting it 170, and sometimes I'm hitting it 165. Sometimes I hit it 180. So I'm just feeling all that stuff out at the moment as these swing transitions are starting to happen. So really focusing on soft knees, give myself a little bit more bounce and room as I come through so that I'm not standing up. I think about this shoulder plane as I follow through, staying down and square without pushing this knee up and standing up, because then look at this. So if I come this way, I keep my left knee soft, and I come through, everything's stable and still, and I don't lock this knee out. But if I do that again, and I don't have as much bend in my knees, and I come through and too early extend, and I lock that knee out, well, look at my position now. My head's come up, I'm pushing this way, and my shoulders are at this angle now, rather than up and through. So feel for me is really just thinking those shoulders square, shoulders come up, shoulders come through on the same plane, because the shoulders start everything. All right, let's hit a few more. Let's see. I'd like to hit a nice one. Not going to address again. No, call that very fat. Trying to hit it rather than just swing through the ball. Let's go again. Nice follow through. Actually, as well, I've been really not bad. It might be short. Yeah, so 150, that's short for a 7-iron. Didn't quite get the compression or the contact. Let's just hit a few more. See how we get on. See if I can find a rhythm with this club. a bit better. Closer to target. It's short again though, very short, 141. So I think I hit the ground a bit there. So this is where you start getting a bit stiff and you're like trying to make the angles and create all the thing. And this is where actually more recently I've just been, actually when that starts to happen, particularly when we're trying to practice our setup routines and our machine from the training mat, is just to get a bit loose again. Get a bit loose. This is what the body's meant to do. If you also put the club in front of you, these are the angles it's meant to hit. It just all gets very confusing when we put those angles down to address. But just getting loose a bit, rather than hitting more and more balls, trying to make it perfect. Grip down even a little bit more. I'm mid-grip at the moment. A hinge, and then coming in and making an athletic golf swing rather than a technical trying to be perfect one. And often I'm finding that frees me up and results in a lot better shots like that. That's gone 170, right? So I've overbaked that. Even though I'm trying not to swing all the way to the top, I'm trying not to swing at more than 70, 80%, but because the contact and the angles are also much better, you get much better compression and the ball can go 170 with a 7-iron, with a 9 o'clock, maybe 10 o'clock rotation, and at 70% speed. So this is something that I've really learned. And with the club gripped, you know, midpoint, which gives me more control. Okay, so let's try that again. Again, just wanting to be more athletic. Get it out. Part of that is just keeping the body moving a little bit so it's ready to make that action rather than static into full, 100%. And again, I'm just going to go, like I said, my 9 o'clock, which goes a bit further, and let's say 80% speed, and really focus on contact. Staying down, contact, following through. Find my P1. Great contact, just left the club face open a little bit on the way through. That's traveling 168. And I mean, for this shot, this is 156. I mean, I don't even need to be hitting it that far. I could probably dial it down a little bit even. So again, I'm just keeping loose, finding the bend in my knees. Find P1. And go. That's probably more the shot. 160, 5 yards past the hole. Make sure I miss all the trouble. And then gives me an easy lag putt into the green. Same again, not quite getting the follow through here. I want that rotation while keeping the head behind and making sure that knee doesn't lock out, but rotating through. Quite a good one for that is come back and then just rotate through. Come back, rotate through, come back, rotate through, because that is the motion. That back hip makes you rotate that frame you've got up here and come through. So we can just literally try that. That's the move, right? Obviously I've gone at it quite hard there, but I don't need to do it that hard. Let's do it a bit softer. The move is that rotation. Get the club up into this frame, bring it up, rotate the body. Rotate the body. Rotate the body. Which is driven by that back hip coming back without locking this knee out. Again, I'm hitting pulls at the moment. This has been happening quite a lot since I changed my swing. Let's try and adjust that now. So I'm going to address the ball with the club face. Instead of square to the target line, I'm just going to open it up a little bit, maybe a centimeter, which will give me more of a draw. So I'm adjusting to what I'm seeing. That's a bit better. I wouldn't want to land it there. I'm trying to aim for the back of the green. I didn't get the best contact. Okay. See if we can improve this a bit. Through. Okay. I'm going to keep my club face open. Keep moving a little bit. Just. All right, that's much better. I backed off a little bit. I mean, that's gone 169, so it's over-baked, but safe. I moved back from the board a little bit. This is also what the mat helps with on the irons. Gets your perfect distance from the ball. Sometimes I find myself a bit too close, and then my body starts trying to make compensations in different ways. The best way to feel it out is the club face behind the ball. Get your golf posture, but with your weight down the center, and the arms should just be hanging, essentially. So you could come back from here, and your arms are pretty much hanging flat. That is probably the perfect setup. That's what I tend to go back to. You can find your own references. So again, okay, better. Straighter balls, a little bit of draw. Again, going 166. Actually don't need to be hitting it that far. So here I could maybe club down with what I'm seeing on this type of shot. So let's say I was playing in a few days or the end of the week. I'd be trying to remember all of this stuff and take it to the course. If I had a pin that was around 155, you know, maybe to get on the back of the green, the 7-iron is a bit too much. I might be hitting an 8-iron there instead. Let's try again, see if I can tone it down a little bit. It's probably short, caught it a bit fat. But we don't want to be landing there, guys. We're trying to, even with these mid-irons, I'd say we're trying to hit the back of the green, back third of the green, give us the best chance and stay out of that trouble. Okay, better. That's the best contact, best compression, good distance. Notice how I didn't overswing. I didn't try to swing too fast, didn't try to swing too hard, came up, gave it time, tempo, let it come back through. That's a great example of getting the same distance with a lot less rotation and a lot less speed, and using timing and rhythm to get the contact. Let's see if we can do that again. Okay, caught it a bit fat again. Bounce. Ooh, nearly. Okay, so yeah, we just continue like this, guys. And I'll probably leave it there. That's as much as I've got for you today. I've hit more than 10 balls, obviously, but I was trying to explain a lot of this. So actually, I'm just going to come back a bit, try and find my perfect distance, find my reference spot, P1, P2. Let's just try weight on the back. See, when I address the ball, I start hesitating, start questioning what I'm meant to be doing, where's my first movement, you know, blah, blah, blah. So I'm trying to stop doing that for now and actually just address here, find my P1. And then I know that as soon as I address, I go. I let the machine do its work without overthinking it. Okay, call that a bit thin. Still good result, 157. And one more. Grip, mid grip. Coming in a bit. Okay, that's the best one yet, I think. It's probably going to be a bit far, but that's what we were trying to illustrate. It's gone to the back third of the green, back of the green on the island. Let's just have a look at that, where it went. we can see. It doesn't show us the balls. Let's zoom in. Y, O, oh. Where's O do? Here we go. Not sure it's going to show us where the balls are. I think that's just the overview. Yeah, but you get the idea, guys. So that's, yeah, that's an insight into how I bring the training and the exercises from the mat using the weighted full-length 7-iron. And then there's a period where we need to bring them onto the driving range or the sim. And then the same with the putting gate, using the putting gate to take the tempo and the timing and the rhythm that we've built in with the metronome. And then from there, all we need to do is make sure that we're starting it on the correct line and that your putts are starting on a straight line. We get more and more accurate with that over time. So yeah, the Visio template with the metronome and the putting arc, that then becomes your rhythm, timing, tempo, your stable base, building that muscle and that base to stay solid on the putts, and make sure you follow through because it's based on tempo with the tick tock, and make sure you follow through and you're hitting the same putt every time on the same tempo. So removing variables, and then bringing what we've been practicing on the mat in terms of swing positions, P1, P2, P3, an extension of that, into your practice routine. And we've covered some of the topics there. We'll create content on a lot more of these topics, but this was more of an insight into my training session, and just covering some of the ideas and the concepts that I'm working with for now. But until next time, I'm going to hit a few 3-woods, and then I'm going to go and have some lunch. And if I hadn't been talking to you guys, this session would probably be done in 20 minutes. I'm all finished and I'm going to get back to work. The mat sessions at the moment, just repetitions. That's all we need to be doing is reps. P1, 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 P2, P1, P2. That's what we've been practicing. I've done that every day for the past 25 days to try and get rid of this chicken wing. And it's working with also bringing more width into my swing and making sure this elbow is staying, in line with the back of my spine. And then how do I bring that into my training sessions, and what experiences and learnings have I had so far? And I'll keep updating you on that. But I've shared a few of them with you today. And yeah, until next time.